Allah. Allah. La ilaha illallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Ahmaduhu wa asta'inuhu wa astadihi wa astaghfiruhu wa umminu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfuruhu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. As-salahu bil-huda wa din al-haq liyadhiruhu ala ad-din kullihi wallahu karihal mushrikun. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him. We seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His servant and messenger. Allah sent him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. And this way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. Amma ba'd fa inna astakal hadith kitabullah wa awtaka al-ura kalimatu taqwa wa khairul milali milatu Ibrahim wa khairul sunani sunatu Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam wa ashraful hadith dhikrullah wa asanu al-kasasi hadha al-Quran wa khairul umuri awazzamuha wa shairul umuri muhtatatuha wa asanu al-hajju hajju al-anbiya wa ashraful maut katlu shuhada wa amma al-amma dalalatul ba'd al-huda wa khairul amali ma nafa'a wa khairul hadi ma uthba'a wa shairul amma al-karab. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the most truthful of discourses is Kitabullah, or the Book of Allah. The most trustworthy word is taqwa, or fear of Allah. The best of the community is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. The best acts are those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. The worst acts are those based on innovation. The best way of life is the one adopted by the prophets of Allah. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. Best acts are the ones that yield benefits. Best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna Allaha yahmaru bil-adli wal-ihsani wa ita'i dhil qurba wa yanha anil fashai wal-munkari wal-bagi ya'ithakum la'alakum tadhakkarun. Allah commands justice, the doing of good, and liberality to kith and kin. He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice and rebellion. He instructs you that you may receive admonition. فَمَنْ يُرِيدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Those whom Allah in His plan willeth to guide, He opens their breasts to Islam. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَقَّ تُقَاتِهِ وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. O you believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in a state of Islam. وَأَتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. And hold fast all together by the rope which Allah stretches out for you, and be not divided amongst yourselves. And remember with gratitude Allah's favor on you. Kuntum khayra umatin ukhrijat lil nasi ta'muruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. You are the best peoples ever raised up for mankind, enjoining what is right and forbidding what is wrong, and believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala khairul mursaleen. Muhammadin nabi al-ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ijma'in. Amma ba'd, yaqulu Allahu ta'ala fil Quran al-Kareem. Inna Allaha wa malaikatuhu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. Salu alayhi wa salimu tasliman. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It is not righteous, in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. It is not righteousness that you turn your faces toward the east or the west, but it is righteousness to believe in Allah and the last day and the angels and the book and the messengers, to spend of your substance out of love for Him, for your kin, for orphans, for the needy, for the wayfarer, for those who ask, and for the ransom of slaves, to be steadfast in prayer, to practice regular charity, to fulfill contracts which you have made, and to be patient and firm in pain and suffering and adversity. And throughout all periods of panic, such are the people of truth, the God-fearing. So today's subject is dealing with adversity and what social science calls post-traumatic growth. Post-traumatic growth. But this right here, after mentioning all the systems of our belief and making our contracts that we have made, it says those who are patient or firm and patient in pain or suffering and adversity. So today's subject is a combination of adversity, those things that you face and challenge, right? And you grow through that. They are the reason for your development. They're there to help you grow and develop. And see, this post-traumatic growth is different than post-traumatic syndrome that they have when they go to war, or they got some black term, post-traumatic slave disorder, is that it? Something like that. That means that's what Negroes have, because we was in slavery so long that even though we semi out of slavery, we still suffering from shell shock of being in slavery, from the war between good and evil, and we were its victims. To be firm, patient in pain or suffering and adversity, and throughout all periods of panic, such are the people, the God-fearing. It goes on to say, do you think that you shall enter the gardens of bliss without such trials as came to those before you, who passed away before you? They encountered suffering and adversity, and were so shaken in spirit that even the messenger and those of faith who were with them cried, Mata Nasrullah, Mata Nasrullah, Allah inna Nasrullahul Kareeb. And they cried, when will come the help of Allah? And verily, the help of Allah is near. So it lets us know the Quran is a perfect guide for behavior, and it lets us know that don't expect to go through this life without challenges, without facing obstacles. And whatever you face, the Quran, like it's talking to you personally, I'm going to show you what you do. Here's how you get through them, and here's your messenger, your example to demonstrate the practical methodologies to follow. If you ever get blinded by the glitter of life and everything, and you want an example, just look at Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that will lead you where you need to go. But don't think you're going to go through this life without certain challenges. And the messenger, even the messenger and those that were with them, they had this cry, Mata Nasrullah. And Allah responded, Allah inna Nasrullahul Kareeb. When will come the help of Allah? So evidently this is not a week or two little scenario that they're dealing with. This is going on a long time. And that's why we talk a lot about longevity, stickability, the ability to hold on with tenacity over a long period of time. This is the thing that knocked out the black movement, different than others overseas. No longevity. Boss man didn't give us no time. We had 4 or 5 years to get it together, and after that, he just rolled in and knocked us out of the box. We just didn't have no time. That's all. That's the main. Longevity was the main. That's why Dr. King said when he, just before he was martyred, he said, longevity has its place. But he was also saying, I'm not going to be here with you. I'm not going to make it. I done got a call from somebody, some kind of way. You know, they tell you, you can tell, like sometime when you get sick, but sometime when you get sick, it hits you, you say, this is the one here. You have a feeling that I think this might be the one. It goes on to say, those who spend freely, whether in prosperity or in adversity, who restrain anger and pardon all men. It's giving you a process about longevity. Whatever this fight is, it's going to be a while. And you're going to be involved with a lot of people. And if the numbers fall in line, it ain't going to be a whole lot of good ones. I mean, you're going to be double-crossed, triple-crossed, and everything else. So, or adversity, who restrain anger and pardon all men. This is difficult for many people. But if you get fortunate and you get piped into reality, this becomes easy. How you pardon people. They can bust the fat off of your head and you can pardon them. Why? Because you're not going to go against the rule. The rule is that Negroes, if they start getting big, they're going to get other Negroes to challenge them. So if you fight them, you're a damn fool. Yeah, that's the way it goes. That's a rule. And you let boss man go. Number one rule, don't let boss man. So when the Negro in Oakland got out of line, it ain't a pardon all men. Said nice guys. Yeah. When people right here packed up and left, they just packed up and left. This place was full of people. The people packed up and left. You ain't seen us go through no changes. Only thing is we regret we didn't have a chance to wave goodbye to them. They just left and never come back. And we didn't have a chance to say farewell or salam. Or adversity, who restrain anger and pardon all men, for Allah loves those who do good. This is what Allah is telling us here. See, there's some keys. If you get them, you're on the road. If you miss them, you're in trouble. Okay. Therefore, we sent messengers to many nations, and we afflicted the nations with suffering and adversity, that they might learn humility. So suffering, adversity, fitna is for your benefit. In fact, the more you get and the more you evolve, right? What used to be big fitna, I don't know if y'all remember about 10 years ago, we had a lecture called Design Fitna. Anybody remember that? Design Fitna. That means, I'm not bragging, but we got the game down so well by that time. We was into it about 40 years, at least 40 years by then. The whole situation that we say we're going to design our fitna. This wasn't the first time, but each time we went through it. Maybe the first time it would have been up in 71 when we had to leave the country. And I remember when I got to Algeria, Pete O'Neill used to take pictures. He was head of security for people that came, and they put a file on you. Years later, when I saw him in Tanzania, he gave me that picture back. He said, look at that picture. He said, man, when you got here, you was all scrunched up and mean looking and everything, and now look at you. You know, shoot, I was running on the beach, running in the mountains, living in South America, eating fruit salad all day long, every day. It was just a difference. He said, look at you now, boy, and look at you then. I said, as the white man, he have a nigga so mad. This is the first go round. You got to remember, this is 1970s, early. When I'm talking to him about this is in the 73. He's showing me a picture from 71 when I first went over. In that time alone, there was a growth. Now, what I'm going to talk about today is this post-traumatic growth. The people that really get involved in that, they are very, very fortunate because they're in a process of evolution. They're growing, right? And the growth is not limited. Your boss man or the criminal element that you're dealing with, they don't control your growth. In fact, what we're saying here, that over the last decades here has all been planned and structured. Once you look at it closely, you can see it. The lectures, the format, the design, that's why we call it Design Fitna. Now, who's going to come up with something like Design Fitna? Design Fitna means you design. You know boss man gonna mess around, right? So you don't let boss man just stumble around and stab you anywhere in the back. you indicate, boss man stabbed me right here, right? You see what I mean? And he's happy to do it, and he stabs you right there. You're protected there. Don't stab me down here, right? And if you get skilled at it, you direct him where to stick you in the back, who to send to do it, and all of that. The only reason we never got that far is because we didn't think like that. We never thought like that before. People thought, and most of them still do, but that's our job, to help to show them what we have done and what we're going to do. That's our job here in America. It wasn't to have this place full of things in the school and all of that. That was all the window dressing. By the time all that was going full blast, we knew that we were 100%, well, let's call it 99%. Infiltrated and sabotaged, we knew that. Friends, family, it didn't make no difference who it was. We already knew that. That was clear. It had been clear. That was just one stage. We knew that back several stages ago. Back by the time we came back here to go to work, we was already aware of what we was going to encounter, because it was easy to see what everybody else encountered. Right? If you're going to struggle here, this is what you're going to deal with. That's just the regular stuff. COINTELPRO and all that. That stuff is old, raggedy stuff. Okay. So, before thee we sent messengers to many nations, and we afflicted the nations with suffering and adversity, that they might learn humility. So, this stuff that people are talking about now, to them it's new. This post-traumatic growth. But that's all we're reading here in the Quran. We sent this to do that to those people, that they might grow, develop, and improve, right? That's what it's saying. So, what white folks, they got some ideas, and they call it post-traumatic growth. That after you go through a certain amount of adversity, which is true, right? Then you get all scatterbrained and everything, and you need help. Some say no. There's post-traumatic growth. The fortunate people, when they experience that trauma, that historical process, they evolve and they grow. And they outgrow their enemies by leaps and bounds. They be so far ahead, it'd be like a joke almost. It does. It's a joke now. But the joke is not on us. The joke is on the system that can't even hold their urine, that can't do nothing right. Right? The system has been so much infiltrated with Zionism that they're using overt Zionist processes on us. The regular Negro oppression was bad enough from the white folks, but the white folks now is using Zionist tactics. You know, like the Zionist Jews on Palestinians. I mean, no remorse killing. Nobody would keep their knee on somebody's neck like that in the public eye until the guy just collapsed. That's what Zionists do. Not regular white folks. White folks training, we'll beat this nigga, we'll shoot him, bam, bam, and they try to get, oh, he had a gun, something like that. But just blatant. We are non-responsive to screams and cries and all that. And all the shootings during that period was like that. And they shoot the boy down in Missouri and leave him out there for 4 hours, uncovered and everything else. That's what they was doing and still doing. But it don't tell us to treat them the same way they treat us. That's why we got blessings going. We are being taught to expose them and to deal with them in certain ways. Goes on to say, whenever we sent a prophet to a town, we took up its people in suffering and adversity that they might learn humility. Now, this humility here is for two people, the oppressor and for us, right? Okay, if we're the good guys, we're the oppressed, we still have to be good, right? I mean, we have to look at the suffering and the oppression and everything, and we learn from that. That's what white folks call post-traumatic growth. It's all throughout the Quran. That's why I'm reading all these ayats on adversity that Allah send that for you in order that you what? Grow, expand, improve. That's what it, just to let you know that boss man, all this stuff he come up with, it's just been here all the time. And we could run this, we're just going to do a few more ayats just so that we'll fully understand that we've been had the hidayah all the time. We'll go over a few ayats and then we'll move on. When we make mankind taste of some mercy after adversity hath touched them, behold, they take to plotting against our signs. Say, swifter to plan is Allah. Verily, our messengers record all the plots they make. Now, this is similar but different. Adversity is here, but at this point, there have been some overcoming that adversity. But in overcoming that adversity, they go right back to doing what they was doing, and they give themselves the credit. Boy, it was me. I was slick. Boy, look at here. You know, they thought they had me going, and I didn't pull it off. That's what the people say. Like me and you, you're getting chased by the police. You say, if I just could get away, boy, I'd be all right. Lord, if you help me, you know, Christian prayer that niggas did all that robbing, and then he, you know, go to bed. We used to do it. They teach us to go to bed. We do your prayers, right? You just shot 10 people. It's no big deal. Just say your prayers, right? It's pitiful, but that's so. And when you prayed, Lord, I need this bed. I said, oh my God, I saw that Benz, that big one going down the street. They used to have a Grand 600. I mean, the Grand 600 was bigger than the 600 they got now, if they still got it. This one had 2 sunroofs and 2 back seats, both of them facing. That's a bad boy, I'm telling you, is the baddest ride you ever seen. Well, I mean, I'm just saying. And that's what Negroes was praying, Lord, if you can't give me a Grand 600, give me one of them, the what right next to it. I just saw one the other day, Lord. And that's the way we prayed. We didn't pray for hidayah, stuff like that, right? Tell the truth. And so that's what these people here, when they was in adversity, boy, they was hollering and praying, and I do right. As soon as they got through it, I'm the slickest nigga in town, boy, look at him. This is what I did over here. I took that thing, took this old girl, I started pimping, I thought this, that, and other. Right? This is the Negro. And the white man and Mexicans, the Arabs, all of them. This is talking about humanity, not just you. It's just that me and you happen to be living at a time when our customs are exaggerated. And the world's eyes is on us. So if we sing a song, everybody starts singing it right now, right? That period will pass, but for right now and for the last 100, if the Negroes sing it, so's everybody else. right? And whatever he do is cool. Now, niggas been cool since the late 40s and early 50s. Because everybody my age, I only seen one Negro in D.C. He was old as me. His name was Cool Breeze, right down there. And there's no younger people that I hear of called Cool Breeze. You know what I mean? Because niggas ain't cool no more, but they was cool then. Right? That was a style. Niggas is cool. That's a cool nigga to have, boy. Look at him. Anyway, we'll just zip over and knock over a couple of more. We gave man a taste of mercy from ourselves and then withdrew it from him. Behold, he was in despair and falls into blasphemy. But if we give him a taste of our favors after adversity has touched him, he is sure to say, all evil has departed from me. Behold, he falls into exaltation and pride. I'm just trying to show you these stages. That first of all, to get through adversity, right? That's a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After we get through it, we done prayed and hollered and carried on about Allah, and then soon as we get past that, we done forgot about Allah, which is common. And so Allah may have to visit us again and again. When we gave him some mercy from ourselves after some adversity has touched him, he is sure to say, this is due to my merit. This is the Negro. He done slipped away. I think not that the hour of judgment will ever be established. But I am brought back to my Lord. I have much good stored in his sight. But we shall show the unbelievers the truth of all that they did, and we shall give them a taste of severe penalty. Okay, you saw the ayat. They gave him a taste of mercy. Oh, that was wonderful. Then he said, this is due to my merit. And I don't care nothing about all that stuff, y'all, all that religiosity and carrying on. This was me. This is because I'm a bad nigga. That's all there is to it. You have to admit it. I'm a bad nigga. Been bad. Yeah, for a little while. Go on with it if you like. But then Allah says, he pardons for him, or he provides for him from sources he never could imagine. This person gets helped from ways that they're not even thinking about, and you definitely not thinking about. And if they see it, they won't believe it. Like if people sit right here and look at the record, they'll see that Masjid al-Islam and before have survived openly, clearly. It's over 50 years now, because I'm talking about Jahiliyyah time and then the Islamic time, just a little 40 or something. Yeah, that's okay. But all of it was movement. East Oakland Enterprises, they never had a group of black people that wanted to help everybody. All the big Negroes, the Ward brothers, Fillmore Slim, them, those all the pimps, you know, they was big. They didn't want to help everybody. They didn't want to have a black economic enterprise zone. And they thought I was crazy because I was buying everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people, brand new Cadillacs. Okay. They said, man, that guy is throwing away money. It's not throwing away money. If everybody in your neighborhood wants something, right? And you buy several of them for guys. How much advertisement is that? What are people going to talk? Man, so-and-so. Every time the car is a free advertisement. Every time you drive down the street with them Vogues and Star Wars and everything, and that ride, it's different now because people got all kind of cars. But in those days, we was just out of the country, like I was born in Arkansas. I mean, right on the bayou, really, on the bayou. There's the bayou, here's the house. All that rain barrels and pumps, we had all of that. Mules and horses, we did all of that. Haul, plowing, y'all don't know that, do you? When you got them long straps on you and you're plowing them long rows, that way, haul, that way. And the mule, you don't have to whoop the mule and make him do nothing. You just say haul. So if your father's plowing, you could hear him all day. You got to go in a straight line so he gets up. Haul, and the mule got enough sense to follow orders. Now, the mule might have more sense than Negroes, because Negroes got guidance and they don't follow it. At least a mule got enough sense to follow some orders, right? And a Negro don't follow none. I'm telling you, he got a lot of work to do, but it's all right. So anyway, فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا. So verily, whatever difficulty there is relief. Verily, whatever difficulty there is relief. Now we want to deal with this part of what they're calling post-traumatic growth. Post-traumatic growth means that it's the same as adversity. Adversity is to help you. Adversity is like challenge. Adversity, all of those things. I used to lift a lot of weight. So the more you have, the more challenge, the more weight you put on, the bigger your muscles get, right? The stronger you get because of the workout system and the method that you got for building up a strong body, right? So there's a system, there's a method, there's a process. Also, there's a method, there's a process for building not superior but high quality human beings. White folks are experimenting, and it's called post-traumatic growth. Okay, who's had the most, what they call trauma, here in D.C. and Oakland and everywhere? Well, we have. In fact, the post-traumatic growth, if we arrange fitna over 10 years ago, right? Design fitna, what do you think we're going to do as we move on? Right? Stay there with design fitna? No. Right now, we're evolving into another stage. All the stuff we've encountered, we haven't written in 10 years. But now we will write, we will explain, and we will present an outline for our community to develop if they want to. So they'll have a process. See, everybody, you go and tell program boss man do this, and that's been true in the past. For us, it's not true. We have been for decades under the biggest attack of the United States government, and we're here to tell the story about it. That's why we're telling it. We're not here to hide it under a bushel or play like have nothing been happening. We've taken notes, diagrams, and we said years ago that this is documentation, historicizing, right? Chronicalizing, right? Those are our main words, that we know what we've been doing. We understand what we've been doing, and we've been successful. More successful as nobody, you can't go find this stuff in our history because nobody took their time to do it. Or people got scared. Or people sold out. Or a lot of things, right? Let me just read a few things. Post-traumatic growth. Resilience is the process of adapting in the face of tragedy. Resilience, tenacity, stickability, all those things we've been talking about for decades. 95% of ability is stickability. The ability to hold on, to be here a long time, longevity, where you don't get knocked out of the box on the first punch, right? You fight boss man till he get tired, till he goes crazy. Who has went crazy in front of everybody? The system, boss man has, right? He run out of Afghanistan. He hadn't won a war in so long. He might have World War II. Not Korea. He lost 50-some thousand people in Korea. But the Chinese are making the biggest blockbuster movie right now is made in China about Chosin Reservoir and all that, about how they whooped the Americans. The Red Chinese, that's what they used to call them when I was a kid. Because I went to my mama and I said, Mama, all the Chinese out here, we was in the Bay Area in San Francisco, Oakland, all these Chinese are yellow. Because I was 8 years old, didn't know no better. I said, I haven't seen no red Chinese. And not one red Chinaman. They was all yellow looking, you know. That's because I didn't have no sense, 8 years old, you know. How you going to figure out anything? Okay. Reliance is the process of adapting in the face of tragedy. Post-traumatic growth refers to positive changes experienced as the result of adversity. Let me go over that again. Post-traumatic growth, what we're talking about today, right, refers to positive changes experienced as a result of adversity. When Allah loves someone, what do? He put them in adversity, right? The hadith is right there, right? When Allah loves you, He puts you through challenges. Why? So you'll grow, you'll improve, and you'll be bigger, and you will be better. That's what challenge is. Most people get a government job because they want an easy life. A government job is like the army or police and all that. They put your life on the line. Niggas think you're getting an easy job, or they putting him in the fire. White man don't go in that fire. He send dumb niggas and dumb white folks, right? Because the nigga want an easy job or a non-thinking job. Okay. This is while reliance is the process of enduring during a personal life crisis, post-traumatic growth is the positive changes that occur during or after the crisis is passed. Post-traumatic traumatic growth is something that you experience during the process or after. Okay. Developing up to having changes related. This talks about better enjoyment of life and what have you in general. Okay. Personally, I had a chance to have all the stuff that everybody would be praying for and wanting. And this is, right now, is at least, of course you can't count it, at least 100 times better than the best of that. This is 100 times better, and I'm just using numbers, unspeakable numbers. I'm saying it's at least 100 times better than all of that, and you're young, and you got everything that people wish they had, and you're getting it for everybody else. But see, all of those black programs that they talk about, you can't make people, you can buy Cadillacs, but you have to buy them for people for your reasons. Because they're going to drive them Cadillacs. They're not going to sit there and do the stuff you didn't outline. They're going to drive them. But the more they drive them, it's free advertisement for liberation. That's why Oakland was a center of the United States then. And in some cases, it's not now. But why would a little place that size have all of that impact all over the United States? Why? We have to think about that. Okay. Post-traumatic research. Okay, now they're doing a lot of post-traumatic. Post-traumatic growth happens when you are able to transform trauma and use adversity to your advantage. Post-traumatic growth happens when you are able to transform trauma, right? Think about it now. You're sitting there, wait, need me some trauma. We could turn that heat down, we can get us some trauma. Yeah, and we're going to use that to make us big, to make us important. Isn't that something? That's possible. It's not only possible, it's normal. The Quran uses it as normal. That we tried our people with adversity to make them aware, to make them good, right? To make them expand. So, that's what it is. You have to experience post-traumatic stress before you can experience post-traumatic growth. We totally disagree with that. That's the white folks saying that. The white folks are saying you have to experience post-traumatic stress before you experience post-traumatic growth. We don't follow that line. Yes, you have to go through this adversity, but it accompanies growth. Okay, let's see. Post-traumatic growth is not a direct result of trauma, but a result of how an individual deals with it. Post-traumatic growth is not a direct result of trauma. Like if you have trauma, you don't have to grow from it. But how you deal with it determines, right? How you see it, how you digest it, your attitude about challenge, your attitude about obstacles and encumbrance in life is what determines, right, how you're going to deal with this information that's coming to you. So what we have here, we have a live and living and in color experiment on PTG. That's what we're doing. See, you have to realize what we are doing here and what we've already done. We stopped writing strategic management on the, conditions of repression, all of that. That's 10, 12, 13 years ago. Now, that's not long for me, but it's long for most people. We haven't written an article in As-Sabiqun for 10 years, right? I think 2011. Okay. Now we've done all this. What we have been doing is just what we said we was doing. Historicizing, chronicalizing, research, training, right? Note-taking, right? Building an archive on what we are living through. That's what we've been doing. And how can it work so well? It's because nobody think a 70-something-year-old Negro has got the skill and none of that to do that. And that's where you win. You know, see, boss man got scotomas. You got to know what he can't see. When you look at the Negro, you got to see yourself through the Negro eyes. And since he don't see himself as worth anything, you don't see you as worth nothing. Remember, if the Negro don't see himself as worth anything, he don't see you as worth anything. And you have to prove it to him. You have to beat him over the head with reality. Yeah, you have to, not violently, but he don't see himself as anything because he don't see you, and vice versa. The Negro don't see himself as nothing. That's why he'll sell out anybody, anytime, for anything. He don't see himself as nothing. And that ain't the way boss man look at us, because boss man got us on. You can see boss man studying us. Everywhere you look and everything that's happened over the decades have proved it. That's what we had to do. Raise it up on the surface, use patience, traditional stickability, tenacity, right? To hold on long enough and to fool him, tell him what you're doing, but fool him at the same time. Make it sound like a big joke, right? Psychological mumbo jumbo, right? He think about Amos and Andy, because as far as he's concerned, that's what it sounds like. Right? Yeah, it sounds like this nigga sound like Amos and Andy. So you do it right in front of his face. And now, who's here and who's going downhill at 1,000 miles an hour? Boss man. Right? He done lost, he can only destroy. He's like the British Empire, the Romans, all of them that came before. He can destroy, but he can't build. He destroyed Afghanistan. He's destroying Yemen right now, him and the Saudis, right? They're destroying, look what they did to Syria. Destroy, destroy. Look what they did to Iraq. Destroy and destroy. Look what they did to Libya. Just destroying millions of our homes and places where we live and we're happy, right? He can do that. But he's not going to get away with it. He's not going to get away with it. The Muslims are going to regroup, and all of those houses destroyed, they're going to be building all new ones with sunroofs, all kind of new technology, right? Get rid of all them old brick. In our area, we build with bricks and all that heavy stuff, and every time there's an earthquake, all them heavy bricks fall on our head. If they have an earthquake in California, the houses are built out of wood. They're not like here, you can build all these houses, stuff is brick. But brick can't stand no shaking right? But all that wood that we use out there in California, you know what I mean? It'll shake, but ain't nothing gonna fall on your head but a little sheetrock. If you overseas and an earthquake come in Turkey, Iran, and all that, they've been building with all of that heavy mud and brick on top of their head. And when they have an earthquake, it falls on them. That's why thousands of people die in earthquakes over there, and only 100 die over here, or 50, or 10. Different material. When we rebuild, we're going to rebuild a new world. Boss man destroyed the world we were living in, and we're going to have to rebuild a new one. Okay. So this experiment with post-traumatic growth is not an experiment, because this is what the Quran is talking about, that we sent adversity to you to see how you act. We sent adversity to you to teach you submission and kindness and all of that. And the people, some, they did it for a while. Then after they got their Cheerio full of their Cheerios, they said, shoot, this is because of us. Man, shoot, we the smartest Arabs in the world. We got sense. You know what I mean? And we don't have to put up with none of that. It's because of our history, our parentage. We don't make that mistake. We didn't whip Boss Man more than anybody in United States history, right here. All of this psychological mumbo jumbo, we already know it. It don't make no difference whether you believe it. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. We have been chronicalizing, historicizing, and keeping our records for our own mind. Because this stuff going to happen so many times that you got to have a record of it, right? Because Boss Man mess with you so long, he can run you crazy if you can't lay it out with your own self, right? White man have you paranoid, man. This is the police. But if you got a record of it, you don't need to do that. You can do what you want. And then, in fact, you can count on that after a while. I'm telling you, you haven't had this much fun because you won't take a chance. You got to take a chance sometime. You know, if you want to go to the carnival and take that little ride, they got this merry-go-round, go ahead. But if you want to go on that zoop-de-doo, they got them dipper things, stuff that throw you out and snatch you back and all of that. Boy, that's... Now, you're going to go through life, your whole life on the damn merry-go-round. You don't go to whatever they call that, King's Dominion, something right out here, right? You're going to get on the merry-go-round and ride on that damn thing. That's what you're going to do. That's what the life, if you got a government job, if you're telling on everybody, if you're not growing and challenging yourself, you're on the white man's merry-go-round. And you're going to stay on there because once you get on, very few get enough courage to get off. Because the civil service do not produce gangsters. It produces crackpots, basically crazy people, and scaredy cats. You want to see a scaredy cat? You look at them. They scared now. Just listen to this, they're scared. Niggas be scared. They be scared. I'm telling you, I just been with them for 70-something years, so not that we know nothing. Our life and in our living color. This is a live and living in color experiment. A live one. Because that's why we needed longevity. We needed time to historicize all of this. To explain it to people. All the revolutionaries did that. If you look at China, Mao Zedong, he wrote over decades. Right? And we studied that. Writings on guerrilla warfare. And the people wanted us to do guerrilla warfare. They put the best books on guerrilla warfare right downstairs on the table. And I said, hey, man, this is nice. The best, the study on guerrilla warfare back 2,500 years ago. Systematic, excellent study. If you want to find about William Wallace, fighting the English, you can find it right there. It's in that book. Right? If you want to find about every revolution, you could find it in that book. And they left it there for me. They wanted me to use regular guerrilla warfare for the challenge. So we just changed it. Psychological guerrilla warfare. And we talked to Boss Man. We said, Boss Man, we want you to change this from physical stuff to psychological. And Boss Man almost took it up. Like, yeah, you can have your psychological warfare. We said, thank you, boss man. We really appreciate that. Because psychological warfare is in the mind. If he's not going to do any regular warfare, that means he's not going to kill you. And we sell him his own story because he's that arrogant. Oh, boss man, we just so coon, just running around. Let's have a rule on this. Not that they're going to follow no rule. Just, how about psychological? Y'all remember the first go around, y'all almost run me crazy. I was the craziest nigga in town. In your early 20s, you gotta be, and you run up against all this. But after the years go by, you improve. So you get, it's called design fitna. So you get your enemy to use, why, that's the nicest thing you can ever get, right? You get boss man to fight you the way you want to fight. Never happened before, not here in the United States, right? You can take our old writings from back 10 years on back. Nobody's even caught up with that stuff yet, right? So you know how this period is going to be. Because that's what we're doing now, working and writing. Unforeseen benefits, psychological guerrilla warfare. Being able to find the benefit from traumatic events is impacted by so many variables. Being able to find the benefit in a fight or because of the fight, that's been our job. We're going to move toward a close. So the other thing is we have to rename or reclaim all of this activity that's going on. We name it, we frame it, and we claim it. That's why we're winning. Because boss man is using our stuff. And he's outdated. Everything he does is outdated. He's driving a 55 Cadillac. That's all he drives. The thing is so heavy, drinks so much gas, it's just a doggone shame. Yep. All right. Certain types. Number one is acute, chronic. There's acuteness, there's chronic to this stuff that we're talking about, and there's complex. It says, here's my note, Imam Musa's all three. Acute trauma, a single event. Acute trauma is a single event that, that challenges your life and changes your life, and you're focused on that for the rest of your life. Chronic trauma is repeated and prolonged, like domestic violence or drug abuse or something like that. That's chronic trauma. Chronic is chronic behavior. Yeah. Then there's complex trauma. Is exposure to varied and multiplied traumatic events. That's what boss man does. Load up the place with snitches, run away with all your money, just take it in front of you and tell you to go to hell and beat you upside of the head. That would run anybody crazy. Not us. We said we got boss man where we want him. Yeah. When you use yourself as the experiment and the experimenter, you got to be, because a lot of the things you're doing, you're hoping for a reasonable outcome, but it ain't guaranteed. This design fitna. Boss man don't keep up with no treaties, especially his word to no Negro. He might say, I'm tired of you, nigga, that's it. But remember this, that Allah help you from ways and avenues you can never comprehend. Allah can help you from ways you can never comprehend. And what humanity needs during this period is exactly this kind of hidayah. So we're going to have to develop for the post-traumatic growth, competence, confidence, character, coping, self-control. We call it the 21st century Negro approach to growth, research, and comebackism. And I'll move toward a close with that. That means comebackism is something that the Negro always got to do. You got to have that comebackism. So my first comeback was in 1972 when the white man run me off. I was overseas running around, having a good time, of course. But then I came back here. When I came back to the West, I had a little bag, toothbrush, and stuff like that, and that's it. I left all the meat hats and coats and all that. When I left the country, I looked like one of them white women that went on a trip. They used to have all them suitcases, have people carrying the suitcases. That's the way I left. Boy, I left with stuff. I mean, and everywhere I went, okay. And then I go to Africa with all them fur coats and everything. I got to wear one of them outfits one time in Africa. Went up to Arusha. Arusha is 14,000 feet up, right near Kilimanjaro, 38 miles from Kilimanjaro. It's cold up there, so I got to wear one of them suits one time when I went up there. I couldn't wear all that stuff down in Dar es Salaam, and it's hot and sweaty, right? And you're going to wear all that sharp Negro clothes. And then the weather change over there, and you put them alligator shoes on, and I don't know, maybe the alligator get to missing home, because you can have them things on your feet. You ever see the Negro when them things tighten up on you, the things that were once alive, and the weather change? Snakes and alligators and all them kind of shoes. Boy, nigga, you see a nigga dancing like this, that means them his shoes is tightening up on his feet. Boy, and he's trying to holler, good God Almighty. Them things, they cost a lot of money. But they come from a live creature, right? Them gators, they be biting you. Anyway, dear believers, this stuff is real. And we'll close with, remember, acute trauma is a single event. Single event knocked most Negroes out. Chronic trauma is repeated and prolonged, like domestic violence and drug abuse and stuff like that. Complex trauma is exposure to varied and multiple traumatic events. That's over a long period of time, and those are the kind of things that you want to encounter. So post-traumatic growth is something that we'll be writing about, talking about during this next period. We recorded it. We've chronicalized it. We've been writing about it. I just had a couple of little notes here I want to, since I've been here, We've had several different crews come through. And I'm just going to mention maybe the first one. When we got here, we was doing Jum'ah at the Muslim house. People were coming by. And it was a Panama crew, and then mixed with a Negro crew. They was all Negroes. And So I used to go to programs all the time to sell books. And I was staying out Manassas near Route 50. And so when I was going to Ohio this time, I was going to leave in the morning, which I did. Instead of getting on I-70, which would take you straight there, but you'd have to go the long way, I just got on Route 50, headed toward Laurie Caverns and all that, because that's where I was living, a couple of blocks from Route 50. But Route 50 got a lot of turns and all of that. And I believe my car, this guy is a doctor, and all the Negroes that was hanging around then was ex-government Negroes, regular government Negroes. But this car, since I was going to go on Ohio on a long trip, the brother said, "You can use my car." So I filled it up with books, jumped on Route 50, but the car was set up for I-70, I feel like. At I-70, I would have been traveling at a great speed. You know, after you go, maybe the car is set up for turn left, turn right. After the 15th turn, whoosh, the car collapses. This is what happened to me. It says in 1990. And I'm driving, and I asked the police, highway patrol, he was so nice, in West Virginia, wherever it was. I said, "What happened here?" He said, "You must have went to sleep. See that the way that?" And I said, "I went to sleep. I just got up an hour ago and just had my coffee. You know what I mean? And I get up early anyway. So that's incorrect." So I told the brother, y'all would probably know one or two of them. I said, "Man, the right front wheel did something real strange. We better put that on the report." He said, "Don't do that." So I said, "Okay, no problem." My insurance. He didn't want nothing like that. Can you imagine they trying to get rid of the brother and he ain't here in little or no time? This happened. 1,000 other things have happened. So we knew what we was up against the day we got it. Because we knew what we was dealing with in California. Right? In closing, this thing about post-traumatic growth is our interpretation of what we've been dealing with and what we'll have to continue to deal with in the recent future. But so far, when you talk about post-traumatic growth, we've chronicalized, we've documentarized, right? We've done all of that. Yeah, we've chronicalized, we didn't put it all down. That's what we was doing. In other words, whatever you think we've been doing something else. And so, with Boss Man been going right along, but we're increasing and Boss Man is decreasing. Everything we're talking about is happening. Everything we talk about is happening to him. It's an empire in decline. So we would say to everybody, read a few history books, put your finger up in the air, see which way the wind is blowing, and get on board. I'm telling you, you don't have to have no brains at all. None. All you got to know is which way the wind is blowing. Is the white man getting bigger? Is the white man getting smarter? Right? Or what he going to do when they ask for all the money that he been just printing and stuff and giving it away? And, you know, all the things that are in the future for him, he can't escape. Historically, nobody have ever gotten away with it. If he get away with it, he'll be a miracle man. He'll be a miracle. But everything that a society depends on, its trade, its wealth, how do people feel about themselves, right? The self-image of the society. Americans are heartbroken and they can't function right. They're committing suicide. Not only the soldiers, but America is depressed. And they're sleepwalking. And then another billion is out there in California and other places that way. There's a few homeless on this side, but they're not like California. You wouldn't believe it. You would think you were in Soweto 25, 30 years ago, or in South Africa with those shacks that they used to live in. Go out there in California, man. California, the Golden West. When I was coming up, California is a place to be. Everything is golden. Go out there. Hey, man, it was nice. To tell you the truth, it was actually nice. It ain't like that anymore. The people that still live there can't afford it. They got to be, the rich people are buying Mac mansions. 10 of them get together and they buy a big mansion. That was years ago. Maybe it's 20 of them do it now. And they all live, they got a room in that big mansion. I mean, the highest paid people out there. A house that you see right around here costs $1.5 million or $2 million. Shall I say it again? In California, in San Francisco, of course. A house costs $1 million in California. A regular old house, right? And they wonder, why is everybody homeless? Look, whatever it is, we have to get on our job. Forget about the wrong boss man. We got to help the society because the people don't deserve it. You know what I mean? They don't deserve that type of life. Boss man ain't going to do nothing about it. So maybe it's our job. Hey, it's not a bad job. To do good, you might get into heaven. You never know. If you do enough good, you may slide into paradise. And that's all I want to do. I don't even need to go to heaven. They got, like not purgatory. Where in the Kibber, in the grave, when you're in the grave, if you go into heaven, you'll be able to smell paradise. You'll be able to look over in paradise and smell the aroma. But if you go in the other place, it's going to be pretty bad. All the hollering, you're going to hear people all night hollering, well, all day, all the time, because there ain't no day and night. Well, it might be. But anyway, so that'll run you crazy. So all I have to do is get on the veranda to be able to smell paradise. I just want to slide in, because what paradise got going on, just if I can slide in. Do you know that everybody got a chance to go to that? I know it sounds kind of like a fairy tale now. The heaven, the hell, and the devil. People say, that's not scientific. Show me the devil. I said, go look in the mirror. There he is, the one that's talking all that trash, doing all the robbing and stealing. That's you. And why are you doing it? The devil. You don't go around and, I am the devil, and I live over here. And all the devil inside, right? Tell the truth. Anyway, we want to thank y'all very much. But I tell you, this is a great period we're going into. And what we passed through was nice, but this is going to be extraordinary. O Allah, we seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. We seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek thy refuge from cowardice and niggardliness. We seek thy refuge from being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. O Allah, suffice us with what is lawful, keep from us what is prohibited. With thy grace, make us free from want of what is beside. Ameen. Iqamati salat.